Yo, what's up, Bloom? Happy to have you. I'm not even set up correctly. I've got my landlord text me a whole bunch of bull. Just got home? Oh, sweet. How was work? How was your day? I'm thinking we draw a red-tailed fox today, but on top of that, I have to go in like 30 minutes. Frick landlords? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Very rarely do they have something cool to say. Oh, sorry. Here we go. What'd you get up to? Alright, so let's do. What the hell are we talking about? Work was a boring day, but I found moments to draw. Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's perfect. I was thinking about that. Just like, honestly, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I kind of feel like every time I'm doodling, like mindlessly, all of the drawings are so much better than when I'm like actually sitting down trying to make something work. You know what I mean? It's like so frustrating that this scrap piece of paper or like old homework assignments or whatever used to just have perfect art on them, like the coolest shit I've ever drawn. And then I'm doing these, or I'm doing like a video on a tutorial on how to draw or whatever, and it's gotta be like the worst thing I've ever I've ever laid my hands on. And I just end up deleting the video because it's so bad. Excuse me. Okay, so as you can see, with this fox drawing, we're starting with all the simplest shapes. So every single animal head is going to be a circle. We all know this. We all love this idea. But on top of that, with a lot of these sort of woodland creatures, these critters that are slightly whimsical, right? They have a lot of fur on them as well. So what I'm doing is I'm extending that circle. Oh, what's up? Thanks for liking. I'm extending that circle just a little bit with this square, right? And I'm keeping the bottom a little bit pointed so it tells me where that jaw is going to be. But I'm essentially just sort of wrapping a shield or like a pentagon shape. Oh my god, pentagon reference. What's up, Crow? Around this circle to then give my brain some information on where this fur is going to lie. And then, with that, I sort of get this idea of where the ears are going to be too. So I'm just going to lay in two circles. Obviously, we all know that the ears on a lot of cats and foxes and dogs are triangles. What's up, Galaxy? Everyone's all here. And as we're doing this, like making sure. Oh, thanks for all the hearts. Whoa! That's so cool. Thank you very much. We all know that they're going to be triangles, but the cool part about doing the structure first is it really sets up just boundaries for everything. That's sort of how you have to think about a lot of drawings now as you're practicing, is think about them as boundaries, not, oh, it keeps, you know what? I'm going to get rid of this face mirror because my camera keeps focusing on me and not the artwork, which is very frustrating. Okay, so genuinely going out and about has shown me how necessary it is for art. Oh yeah, definitely. Well, also too, like the more you're out, the more things you see, and the more like your memory is just creating, and you see different perspectives and everything. And yeah, absolutely, drawing in a good mindset is huge. You made a tail and a mask? Holy smokes, Galaxy, that's sweet. What are we all doing? We're drawing. I only have 30 minutes to draw today, so we're just gonna do a quick rip. I might be able to do something later. I'm going for a run, and I have some errands to do. What color is the tail and mask? That's what I'm asking. Green and black. Oh, you have great news, Crow. Playing a game and working on my old sketchbook. Sick. Oh, Frankenstein. Frankenstein's awesome. I used to have an imaginary friend named Frankenstein, if you can believe that. Growing up, it was my day one homie. Okay, back to the drawing. So we have this circle. This is going to be our head, right? But we have to remember that foxes have extra fur everywhere. So I drew this sort of outside rectangular prism and box. You gotta lock in for something? What do you have to lock in for? Oh, you contemplated your whole life for an hour? That's incredible. What'd you discover? And now that we have these containers, now that we have these sort of ovals and circles and placements, we can go in and add in just slightly refined shapes within these. So I'm going to put these triangles where these circles were. And now you can sort of see there's a secret. You can't just walk in here, tell us you have something awesome, and then say it's a secret. So as you're going, you're slowly getting like the perfect framework for all of these moments, all these motifs. And on top of that, so what I've been learning when drawing sort of dogs and wolves and everything is when you're drawing any sort of animal with a snout, it helps to just like really brick out where that snout is going to be as like a 3D box. Because now that I see this box on top of the circle, I'm thinking to myself, oh, it has to be 3D. It has to sit away from the head and move away from this body, right? And what this does is that it mitigates all of the failure points around snouts. I always drew snouts weird, wrong, out of shape, out of proportion, out of perspective. But if you start with very simple 3D shapes, like I am on this fox, it gives your brain a second to like really realize where this stuff should be. And if we really realize where the snout should be, it gives us a better indication of where these eyes should be. So I can lay in just little indications of where I think these eyes are going to be. And fox's eyes are very sly. They're very cunning. Don't worry your little tubby face. You all will be in it. What? We'll see someday? Oh my god. When did Crow start making comments so low? Am I lagging? Am I lagging like crazy? Doesn't look like it. You might have to switch phones. Yeah, I think you do, pal. Okay, so now that we have these sly eyes and a 3D snout, we can sort of start refining. So we know all of this fur is actually going to end at the snout line instead of down here. So this is a good indication that, hey, we overextended ourselves a little bit. But that's the perfect part. That's how drawing should be. You have to do all of these big broad shapes and big simple shapes so then you can see where the refining can happen. So I'm going to take a guess, and I'm going to guess that the bottom of the head is actually going to be here. So I'm going to indicate that with a little bit of a darker line. I might even erase some of this extra stuff just to take it away. And then if this is probably too big, then everything else is probably a little bit too big. So I'm going to lay in just some extra groundwork and foundation and claim that the whole head is going to be about that size. And now, that actually gives us a way better indication of where the ears should lie, right? Are we all following? Are we all going crazy for this? So now that we're sort of at this point, at this crossroads, I'm going to just take a chance on life, and I'm going to start outlining where I think the entire head is going to be. And what you do in this outline stage is you embellish just a little bit. You add little flares as you go, trying to make this piece sort of as accurate and fun as possible, right? So I'm curving around. I'm not following everything specifically, but I am doing pretty much exactly what I've laid out from the beginning. I'm slowly adding just a little bit of difference everywhere. And then we can add in just a little bit of the top of the head. And now that outline is starting to come together just a little bit. It looks a little bit like Batman, but that's sort of what all red foxes look like, right? Are we all following along? See you soon. Back already, I feel funny. Crow, what's going on? What's your character arc today? It seems kind of crazy. So, now that we have this outline going, we can start going into the finer details. So, if I like this, if I feel pretty comfortable with all of this, I'm thinking we start with the snout next, because that's going to be the hardest part, and I want to spend most of my time nailing that down and erasing if I need to, kind of like a jester. I just put a close-up vid on my mask and tail. Oh, cool. I can check that out later. So, as we're going, oh my god, I'm getting so many notifications, it's so annoying. Here we go. So, we're going to start looking at how big is the forehead, how big is the face, how big are all of these things in proportion to our outline. Because if we start with a midline down the center, and we start with a midline across the center, like a bullseye, right? Like we're scoping in on the middle of this fox's head and we're shooting him right in between the eyes, right? Get up, get out your shotguns, we're killing. Okay, but these vertical and horizontal lines tell us a great deal. Most, if not everything, especially human faces, all of the face details, all of the extra stuff, all of like the real meat and potatoes of a drawing happen in the bottom half. And the same thing pretty much goes with animals. Every organic creature sort of follows this rule. So, if we have this midline that I just drew, the center of that very first circle, I know that the whole face, snout, and everything has to land in this bottom half, right? So we can guess and check. Are the eyes there? Yeah, baby. Is the snout there? Yeah, baby. So what we can do is cut this in half again, and then again, and now we're sort of in the zone of knowing where the nose should go. So I'm going to throw in just a little indication of where I think that nose is going to lie, right? Now, we're not doing any sort of permanent lines yet. We're just feeling things out. I'm even going to go back into this snout, and I'm going to start adding just a little bit of shadow, because this is going to give me a little bit more information on where I want this snout to be. So, we're just slowly adding a little bit of detail every couple steps of the way. And sooner or later, the drawing is going to start popping out in front of us. And that's sort of the goal. Oh, thanks for liking the live. That's awesome. That really means a lot to me. Again, 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 I do it again and again, again. Shroom, you're going crazy. Also, we have Shroom and Bloom in here now. Crow, you're gonna have to change your name to something. Shroom, you're going nuts. Okay. So as we're going, I'm just slowly adding a little bit of shading, a little bit of detail. Honestly, whenever you're doing these big sketches like this, sometimes it's really important to do like what I call mucking it up, right? As you're going along with stuff, just sort of dancing around with your pencil constantly, not only does it give the drawing dimension, but it also gives you, the artist, a little bit more information constantly on how to draw this thing a little bit better, right? The more information we have, the better the drawing will be. Now, let's do a little bit of fun detail. We know that foxes have sort of a white fur on the bottom half of their face that connects into their nose. So I'm just going to throw in some exploratory lines here to show that fact, right? And those are going to swoop right into those little extra points that I added in the very beginning. And as we can see, like this face, excuse the SpongeBob there, this fox face, although it's super light, is really starting to show all of the detail that we've been adding, right? Are we all seeing that? Oh, the camera's out of focus. That's okay. Cry about it. You're the poking pine now, Crow, but in any case, what? Change my name? Yeah, because everyone's Shroom and Bloom. You need at least 2 O's. Staring Crew, maybe? Storing Crow? Your name is the pinnacle of masculinity? Interesting. You're not a man. Whoa! Oh, because you're a crow. I thought we were about to get some actual crow lore. Okay, but now, as you can see, animals are pretty simple creatures, right? They are usually just an eyes, a snout, ears, and then fur everywhere. So, we can start sort of doubling down and adding in some real detail onto this fox, right? We have the snout, it looks fine, it's sort of in proportion. We have the eyes, it looks fine, they're sort of in proportion. The ears, maybe a little bit tall, but hey, who cares? This is a fun drawing. We have the fur, we have everything at our disposal. Let's start making this thing look cool. So, because we've done all of that heavy lifting, because we've done all of that work, that pre-drawing, we can just go in and start adding really cool detail. Now, this crow, I'm thinking, should have real squinty, maybe he's in a forest tundra, he's in snow, so he has to squint because it's so bright. And because of that squint, we're probably not going to see his eyeballs too much. We're just going to see shadow. And because it's so bright out, we'll probably only get really hard shadows on certain parts of his face and fur. So maybe I'm going to stick all of these extra shadow lines to around this left side, right? And we can add in a little bit of fur, a little bit of detail there, just some fun stuff. And as we're moving along, hey, let's make sure this nose is a little bit more permanent. So I'm going to just follow a classic dog and cat nose with that little polyp. It kind of looks like a mushroom, right? Oh, thanks for the follow. That's so cool. And then I'm going to color that in just as dark as I did the eyes. Usually, whenever you're drawing and you color something in that's supposed to be black or the darkest thing of your drawing, you don't want anything else on that drawing to be even darker than that piece, right? We want to start with the darkest points and then work our way out. Anyway, did you guys eat today? Yeah, I ate a bunch. Give it a mushroom hat? Ooh! You're on a crusade to defeat God itself? Wow! Oh my god. Shroom and Crow, you guys are going nuts. I'm really enjoying it. Every time I look up, I have a whole new book to read. Your phone is PMO? What does PMO mean? But as you can see, now with that dark nose, this drawing is already sort of coming together way faster than earlier before. Then with this nose, with this mouth, we can sort of start adding in a little open triangle, right? And then we can connect that triangle right up to the nose, like most animals have it. Don't fall into the trick where you draw the nose and then you draw just like this super cartoony mouth. That's not what animals look like. Animals usually have a little triangle open for their mouth, a nose, a connection point, and then this splays out towards their cheeks, and then you have a chin indicator at the bottom. This is usually what animals' mouths look like, not that, right? Shroom Galaxy grew up. What? When did you... JK? Shroom, you're going nuts. Oh yeah, we do know about that galaxy. Okay, so with that triangle mouth, guess what? Let's bring a little bit of shadow up and around, just like we talked about a second ago. I'm even going to add some flare and some fur on these lines, but I don't need to connect them up perfectly because, guess what? In the real world, there aren't real straight lines everywhere. It's all sort of blended in together. It's all usually pretty normal and pretty smooth. A lot of times, if you're doing cartooning, of course, you'll probably have a ton of straight lines and really hard edges, but the drawing world, not so much, or the realistic world, not so much. You really just need a bunch of value shifts, and you should have everything you need. So, already, all I did was add a dark little nose. I've finished up a little bit of his snout. I've added some fur lines. And guess what? We're already like pretty much there. This fox looks way more like a fox than it did at the very beginning. You will always be the hyperactive child screaming in my eardrums. Crow, be nice. You're sending Shroom into emote only mode. Now, guess what? This drawing, surprisingly enough, is pretty much done. What we can do now is, because this top fur, everything up here is going to be orange, right? And all of this stuff down here is going to be white. So what we can do to sort of trick the viewer into noticing that color shift is I'm going to gray wash everywhere that has orange. And I'm going to leave the white space, you guessed it, white. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy how we can just do that? Also, little fun fact for you when you're drawing animals. The fur always follows the shape of the head. So, if all of my lines follow the shape of the head, I have a way better chance at making the fur look really realistic instead of having it look like a little baby kid drew it on. So, as you can see, I'm making sure all of my lines are going around that head instead of, bro, drawing someone posing hard as fuck. I am. That's always the thing. Thugs Bunny, thank you very much. I'm glad to have you. But now that we have all of these pencil lines that are following, it sort of tricks your eye, and you think that I'm drawing every single individual hair when in reality I'm just coloring things in and using the perspective to my advantage. Now we can add a little bit of volume and 3D and proportion perspective to the ears by adding this little extra. A little baby kid. Wait, I'm going to disappear and you won't have anyone to scream to except Nathan. That's fine. Shroom, you can scream to me anytime you want. It works. So, but don't disappear, Crow. We need you. So as we're going, especially with the ears, I'm going to have all this fur sticking straight out of the ears, right? So we can switch up the pencil direction there and just have it come right out of the ears. That's another thing. As you're learning to draw, the secret sort of sauce, the secret tip I can tell you is that the direction that you're putting your pencil, the direction that you're actually like drawing in matters. And now, to round things off, because I have to leave pretty soon here, let's do pen. Oh no. Really? We're going to draw with pen? That's pretty scary. But what we can do is draw with a thick outline, this outside, and guess what? When you switch to pen, you get to embellish even more than we did in the very beginning. So I'm going to cruise over here, and I'm going to add a ton of little scribbles to show that this fur is much more realistic than it was in the very beginning. I'm going to add a little bit of weight to everything, and it's going to make this drawing look just a little bit more realistic everywhere. And all I'm doing is I'm just sort of adding jagged lines. I mean, in reality, I'm not doing anything super specific. None of this stuff is like really highbrow art stuff. I'm just scribbling. I'm scribbling and it's sort of working out. So we can go to this nose. And remember I said that the nose is probably going to be the darkest, so I want that to be all blacked out. This mouth can also be dark, so I'm going to add that little triangle. The connector, I'll add a little bit of muzzle there. I'll add a little bit of his chin. And oh my god, this guy's starting to look pretty handsome. We can go up to these eyes. And he's squinting because it's really bright out in the snow where he's running around and frolicking. We can add in a little bit of detail for his snout definition. And then we can add a little bit of eyebrow and movement around his eyes to give it some more detail. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much it for a fox. What else are we forgetting? Oh, I guess we can do a little bit of detail around the white parts of his fur. And then we can add some texture as well. And there you go. There is a little fox drawing from start to finish. Okay, let's see what's going on here. You ain't listening to all that caca? Whoa. Shroom. I didn't know you could say caca. Oh, I also don't think you can say that message. That's crazy. You're leaving? You swear to God? Oh, swear to Glob, of course. Thank you. Thanks for the likes as well and the emotes. No, I won't have anyone to scream to. Listen, we're not going to have anyone to scream to ever. Do foxes have whiskers? You're so cool. Thanks, Garzard. That's really nice. Foxes do. Oh my god. You are so right, Thugs Bunny. Let's add in a little bit of whisker. So, to draw whiskers, very, very simple. We are going to draw in 3 little dots on both sides, and then, not connected to those dots, we are just going to draw 3 lines sticking right out from this guy's face. And just keep them very continuous. And then there you go. And if we were to continue, let's say his body goes this way, I would start with like a rectangle, right? And that rectangle would come just past his chin that we drew, and that would come up a little bit. And then the legs, we would draw ovals and try and figure out just exactly where his shoulders would go, down into paws. and so on and so forth. But this rectangle would give us a much better indication of where his body is, because his shoulders would sit about here, but he's walking, and he's also round and a little bit bulbous. So if you were to continue this drawing that way, we would do the same exact setup. We would do simple shapes first, so I would do a big rectangle. I would then slowly morph it down and boil it down into some ovals and some perspective switching. I would then add in legs, the same thing, just boiled down from simple shape to detail. And then once you feel really comfortable about it, you can start going into outlining and making sure everything feels right. And then once you have that outline, then you can put detail inside of that outline. But that is going to be it. That is going to be the stream for today. I might be on later tonight, but I just wanted to get at least a 30-minute thing online to keep my streak going. If you don't, his viewer retention will drop. Yeah, seriously, Shroom, you can't ruin my viewer redemption. Okay, that's it. Everybody, thank you so much. Thank you for hanging out. I've been Nathan. This is me. Hey, closet's open. We draw a whole bunch of stuff. I teach faces. I teach animals. I've got YouTube and Twitch going. It's the usual. Oh, there's the reference. Look it. That's what I was drawing. Thank you. Nice. Have a good rest of your night. See, look at how nice Bloom is. Bloom immediately said, "Hey, it's been fun having you in the background. Have a good night." And now I've got Crow and Shroom going absolutely buck wild because I have stuff to do. Wow. Wasn't paying attention. Repeat if it's summarized in a 20-word sentence. The whole drawing? You want 20? Okay, 20 words. Let's think about this. You came out the closet. Didn't everybody? See ya, Shroom. Closet shot. Okay, 20 sentences, 20 words, 20-word sentence. Let me think about this. Draw simple shapes. Refine those shapes into what you can imagine. Today, I imagined a fox, so I drew it. Eat it, Crow. There we go. 20 words, easy, munch on box. Goodbye.